Okay, copy the URL, go to your console, the CakePHP folder. We're going to write this get submodule add. You paste the URL space plugins debug underscore enter. It's gone. I'm going to zoom to show you the line. Okay. Get some module. Okay, it's gone now. While you do the same thing, installing Firefox. Okay, we're going to add two plugins to Firefox. The first one is called Firebug. I'm sure you already know about it. And the other one is called Firebug. CakePHP is actually a plugin for Firebug. So you will see next to the orange bar, you will see the blue bar. That's CakePHP. Okay. Go back to your code, open F controller. And this is one of the coolest techniques. You will have your project for debugging. This will help you a lot from going from development mode to production mode, and this will help you also to debug apps that are in production mode and that are deployed. If you have to do a quick fix or a quick debug to have affected the users, this will be the way. Override the constructor in app controller, and construct. We need to check if we are in production mode or we are debugging. We're debugging. Add to new components. Add to new components. The debug kit. From the debug kit plugin, load the toolbar. Right. Just paying attention. Parent. Yeah. So when you open again your application in your browser and refresh, you will see this little thing showing at the right. If you click on it, it will expand. You have all these options. You have the variables. In variables, I'm going to resize this to large. Okay. So we have the variables panel, and you will see that it shows all variables that are passed to the video. In this case, we have user data, with the user information. We have events data, that is the events that were found for this action. We have this data, that means the form, if you have any validation errors, and which helpers have been loaded so far. Okay? So this is quite useful for debugging applications in CakePHP. You won't have to do any more debug in your controller to test if something is sent to the queue or do debug your CDB files. Just open the panel and see if the variable is there. We have also a log panel. It shows us all recent logs that have been done during this request. We have the timer panel that is a sort of profiler for your application. It says how much memory it's consuming and for each step of the process of rendering the view, how much time it took. As you can see, we have a single log, but it doesn't show anything. So, in order for this to work, go to your code, open the default layout, and remove this line. That's it. Refresh the browser. Click on single log panel. Here you have. These are all our queries. There are no default layout, so it's not distorting anymore this information. The singular panel has a very cool feature that it will try to mathematically detect, just it's a guessing, it does, to say maybe your query is slow, you should improve it. And it shows this little box says maybe slow. In order to know why it's slow, it lets you do a explain to your database to see if it gives you any information of why this query was not as maybe slow. Have you done before explains in your database? Raise your hand. Okay. I don't like very much explains in Mozilla. I found that Buffer is a lot better explaining what it does. But I think it's okay to start with. In this case, there is no slowness, it's just an indexing. And in the case of what's that? Okay, my mic is working. Okay. In the case of the events list, looking for all events, it shows practically the same thing. So we have nothing to do here in terms of optimization. We also have the request panel. The request panel shows us all variables that are like floating around. Like this params. This params is a variable that is passed along with dispatcher, the controller, and view. And it's also passed to helpers. So what does CakePHP has? The controller, the names params, the pass params, it says the action, the plugin, the URL, and say, look, as we now have extensions on section parsing, the default extension is HTML. Okay, this is actually something you can try. You can put this in your URL index.html. Okay, we need to part of so it's not done anymore. Okay, we have the URL, the form, if it's agents or not, the request, the paging options, the get variable, and the route that was chosen for the router to render this action. It was chosen controller action asterisk. That is the default route for CakePHP. Okay. We also have the session panel. Here we can see the message from auth. We can see the config for this session and the auth stored params.
Okay? So no more debugging in your views or your controller, just look for your panels. We finally have the history panel. It lets you go back into history for each request that your browser has done in the past. I think it stores like 20 requests or so. So let's put this in practice. Let's add an event. And let's see that here we have our request has changed. We're in the action add. We have some timer for it. Okay, we have something here. Let's add it. A new event. And let's go back to history and click on events add. Okay. Now click on request. Is it working? Maybe something's wrong. Okay. Okay, I think it's a misconfiguration on my part, but let's move on. If you read the documentation for debug panel, it will show you how you go back into history and see in past requests the same information that was when you was on this page. Okay. Now, the debug kit panel, has this feature for debugging Ajax requests. So I will use from now the Fire PHP debugger. It's which one? This one. Point Firefox to your application now.
Okay. We're going to look at the documentation for debugging panel. Should be here. CakePHP. Look for debugging. Great. Let's see how to log new panels. Documentation. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to look for the documentation for FireCake. FireCake is a class that the debug plugin implements, and it calls talks to be more accurate, talks to this plugin, this Firefox plugin named FirePHP, and it sends information to it about the request. So